Whoa, what is going on, movie fans? We are back with I guess this is like our fourth live podcast now, and this is definitely going to be Greg's specialty. I definitely know some horror movies, but Greg is a horror fanatic. He definitely knows his horror movies. There's no doubt about it, so I'm looking forward to talking with Greg. But first off, Greg, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Just getting ready to talk some movies with you. Going to say hello to some of the people in the chat. I got Clocks in here. I got Afghanistan. I got Nate. I got Jawad, Nick the Wick. Who else we got in here? Benjamin, thank you for being here. Steven, thank you for being here. Sports expert, Crispy, and that might be it. Woods, John, thank you to everybody for being here. We're going to talk about some of our favorite horror movies. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of the classics. And we'll jump around. We'll just talk about some of our favorites. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of your favorites as well. And what they, some of our favorite scenes from each individual movie as we're just trying to, continue to give you guys some movie content as we, jump around from genre to genre. Well, there's not a lot of new movies coming out. But Greg, man, I'm going to have you start, man, with some of the movies that you wanted to talk about in the horror genre.
I mean, some of the movies I want to talk about, it's pretty much endless. I mean, if you're going to talk about some of my favorites, I mean, it's obviously the classics. You got The Exorcist, Poltergeist. I guess you're going to have to throw Jaws in there, which in my mind, it's not really a horror movie. But if you were to ask, 100 people what their favorite horror movie was, you'd probably get 30 Jawses. So,
I never got that. Like, I get that Jaws is, it classifies as a horror movie, I guess. But to me, it's more like an action movie.
Yeah, but I mean, you also got to consider that when Jaws came out, it was, 50 years ago almost now? Almost 50?
50 years ago. Holy
Jaws came out in the 70s, right? Jaws came out.
Yeah, wow, it's been that long.
Let's look up the exact year. I don't want to say the wrong year.
Like, I know it was the 70s, so it was at least 40 years.
75, yeah, 75, 35 years.
45 years.
45 years. Yeah, so, I mean, you got to consider it's a different world back then 45 years ago. I mean, even a movie like The Exorcist now, you look at it, it doesn't really scare you. But something like Jaws back then, I mean, nobody had ever seen anything like that. I mean, the whole 2 minutes you see of the shark in that movie are amazing.
The thing that stands out to me in that movie, in Jaws, which makes the movie, is the music. The music. Anytime the shark's coming, dun, 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 that to me is the best part of that movie. The way that
oh yeah, I mean,
the way that it builds the intensity
without showing the shark.
Without showing the shark, yeah, like you said, you don't see the shark outside of the last 2 minutes, but it's such a great film, and it's the type of film, like we said when we were talking about movies that you could potentially redo. You're like, you kind of don't really need it because, like you said, you don't really see the shark.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's what makes Jaws work so well. Is the fact that you don't see the shark. I mean, if you end up like we were talking about movies that be updated with technology, you threw out Jaws. No, Jaws would be hurt. I mean, anytime you start showing sharks for more than a couple minutes in a shark movie, things go wrong.
What about the Meg? What was wrong with the Meg?
I mean, the Meg's different because it has Statham.
That's true. Jason Statham was fantastic. Yeah, I thought he should have got an Oscar for that performance. But you mentioned some of the classics, and obviously you mentioned Exorcist, and you mentioned Poltergeist. Poltergeist they redid pretty recently. I never saw the redo.
No, you don't want to see it. Not as good. None of these redos are horror. That's the one thing. Horror movies are definitely the movies that get remade the most. And there's been so many bad remakes. There's actually been a couple really good ones, and there's been a couple that had some really good aspects to it, but weren't necessarily that good. Like the Friday the 13th remake that came out a couple years ago. The first 20 minutes of that movie was like a perfect horror movie. The beginning of the movie, it's Jason with the sack on top of his head, and he kills all the counselors in the first 20 minutes. And then the rest of the movie is about like a year later with a new set of counselors, and the rest of the movie sucks. It was terrible. But the first 20 minutes of that Jason movie is as good as any slasher movie ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
I was never a fan of the original Friday the 13th.
The original Friday the 13th, I'm not a big fan of. Friday the 13th, actually, might as well talk about the slasher movie.
Because to me, the original Friday the 13th, to me, it was kind of a ripoff of Psycho. With the mother playing the villain and everybody thinks...
it's definitely a little bit of an aspect in there. I just think the original Friday the 13th, the payoff, it's one of those movies that cheats. We talked about these already. The original Friday the 13th fucking cheats. Why? Because you can't figure out who the killer is until before the end of the movie. It's just like, at the end of the movie, like, oh, this is the kid who got killed, his mom. She's been going around killing everybody. It's like, oh, okay. How the hell was I supposed to figure that out before this moment?
Right. And the biggest twist to that movie... was the mother, and I just never really got into it. Jason wasn't even in the movie, And
you see the kid Jason pop out of the lake for that last scare, which is actually one of the best last moment scares like ever. At the end of the Jason movie, you see the girl floating in she's floating in like a canoe in the Crystal Lake, and all of a sudden, little baby Jason pops out and grabs her and pulls her down. Technically, he's in it. But yeah,
fun fact about that movie, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. If it's not his first, it's one of Kevin Bacon's first movies he's ever in.
Yeah, it's definitely one of them. I think it might be his first.
It might be his first. He was really young in that movie. But that's obviously a classic series. And then you got the Halloweens of the world. My phone's being charged, so sorry for that. You got the Halloweens of the world. You've got the Elm Street.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the slasher movies, I would say that. Well, first off, the original Halloween and the original Nightmare on Elm Street are two of the elite horror movies. But when you go into sequels and stuff like Halloween 2 is pretty good. None of the Freddy's was good. And but I would say that the most entertaining of the series is definitely the Friday the 13th. There's something about watching Jason walk around with the hockey mask that I find to be a little bit more entertaining than, say, Michael Myers or... I mean, I think Freddy's probably the most entertaining character. It's just that he's got the movies are just so bad after the original that's kind of hard for me to give him that.
See, to me, out of all those characters, and then I want to get back to Exorcist, but to me, out of all those characters, the guy that is most entertaining to me is definitely Freddy. I like the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, Freddy is the most entertaining, definitely. It's just
and I just like the story. I like the story.
Yeah, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, the original Nightmare on Elm Street's fantastic. Are you kidding me? It's like I didn't even see the original Nightmare on Elm Street until I was probably like 13 or 14 years old, and it still scared the hell out of me at that point.
But I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm curious to see the people in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here, Jesse Bryan. Thank you for being here, Dire Giants fan. Pedersen, Stellano's in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. I want to tell you a movie that scared the living daylights out of me when I was a kid, and they're making a new one. They're making a new one this summer. Candyman scared the ever-living shit out of me, and I curse on the channel.
Yeah, I was with you. I remember when Candyman used to scare the hell out of us watching it.
I remember watching it with you as a kid, and you see him saying Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. That movie was scary as hell. What's that guy's name again? Tony what?
Oh,
Tony Todd, is it?
Tony's Todd, I think. Yes, I'd have to look. Hold on.
I'm sure.
It is Tony Todd. No, it is Tony Todd. I'm almost 100% sure.
But I can't wait for the sequel to that. That's one I'm really looking forward to.
I don't really think that's so much a sequel. That's going to be a reboot, I think.
Or a reboot, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I mean, that's another one of those things you got to be really careful with. Because, like I just said, the rebooting and remaking all these series. I do think this one will be good because Jordan Peele's behind it. But I don't know.
Wishmaster says that Candyman was boring. There wasn't enough pot smoke in it.
Well, okay. Well,
now what would be a horror movie with some maybe drug paraphernalia in it for Wishmaster?
I mean, Freddy vs. Jason's got that stoner character in it. I mean, and I feel like in almost every horror movie there's some form of drug use because that's like one of the taboos that when you see somebody smoking pot, you're like, all right, this guy's only got 5 or 6 minutes left to go in this movie.
Right. What's going on, Anthony DeSantis? Thank you so much for popping in the stream. And I'm just thinking of other, obviously you got Chucky. I
don't think you saw, but the remake that they released, the Chucky, 2 years ago now, year ago, whatever it came out, 2 years ago, year ago, whatever. I actually walked out of that movie. The new Chucky
I didn't see that one.
It was so bad. And so they took because Chucky, the classic Chucky, the whole thing behind him is like the Akuma Shente, where he gets possessed or something. Right. Like a doll is possessed, and the new one, it's like a doll that has all kinds of Bluetooth or has the ability through technology to connect to things, and then goes haywire, becomes bad. It's just they totally screwed up the story. I was actually excited for it too because I had Mark Hamill in it, my man. Luke Skywalker was voicing Chucky, and he's maybe the best voice actor of all time. I don't know if anybody knows.
What about James Earl Jones? You're a Star Wars fan. He played the voice of Darth Vader. What about James?
Mark Hamill did the Joker for 20 fucking years. Mark Hamill is the man with voice acting.
What about What about Morgan Freeman? Morgan Freeman did the Penguin narration.
Okay, well, narration isn't the same as voice acting.
His voice is fantastic, but no, I'm not saying that Mark Hamill's voice isn't good, but.
I mean, when you hear Morgan Freeman's voice, it makes your pubic hair stand up with something.
but I mean, obviously Chucky. The other movie I'm thinking of that is a classic horror series, not classic, but Wishmaster is a pretty cool horror series. Leprechaun is another one.
I like Wishmaster. Leprechaun. Who loves Leprechaun is Vitch. I don't think he's on yet. He'd probably love to hear me say
Leprechaun is hysterical.
Yeah, Leprechauns are really funny to watch, but I mean, the first Leprechaun's kind of more of a horror movie, but I mean, even now you go back and you watch it, it's a little ridiculous. But I mean, put it this way: one of the things I love most about horror movies is the fact that they're ridiculous will not deter me from watching them.
Yes. You're right. You're right. You a lot of times you go into the movie expecting it to be silly and you want to enjoy it.
Exactly. You go in there, you're supposed to see a couple people get filleted up with a machete or something like that, and have a couple of laughs, eat some popcorn, boom, that's it.
And you know, half the time you see a couple of hot naked chicks. I mean, that's what happens, man. You get the boob job. That's especially in the 80s and the 90s. But Wishmaster was a really cool idea too for a horror movie.
I like all the Wishmasters, even like the bad third one. There might have even been a fourth one, but yeah, Wishmasters are fun. I mean, I love Wishmasters. And the second Wishmaster, somebody's in jail and they ask him the guy, the djinn asks him what he wants his wish to be. He goes, I want my lawyer to go fuck himself. And then he has the lawyer twist his body in half and literally bang himself in the ass. I mean,
there's a couple of wishes there's a couple of wishes I remember. You got the wish with the girl where she wishes to never lose her beauty. Turns into
a mannequin. Yeah.
There was a couple of really funny wishes that I remember from that movie, but it was a creative idea. It was
take on it.
Yeah, it was basically an evil genie. That's basically what it was. But I kind of want to go back to the classics that we were talking about when we first started. Obviously, with the Exorcist, I saw that digitally remastered. I remember when it came back out in theaters, and I was like 14, 15. And even then, it still scared the ever-living hell out of me.
Oh, yeah, The Exorcist is fantastic.
That movie's amazing. I mean, most people... Psycho's another one.
I love Psycho. I love Bates Motel, too. I don't know if you saw that, but
the show. You talking about the show?
Yeah, the show was awesome.
Okay, here's my problem with the show. And I don't know how many people in the chat saw the show, The Bates Motel. Here's my problem with the show. This show is supposed to be taking... It's like... It was kind of like half the show I felt like was supposed to be taking place in like the 70s. The other half it's supposed to be taking place modern day. It felt weird to me. Like they're supposed to be reenacting Psycho and they all got cell phones and everything else. I didn't like the feel of it.
I liked it a lot. I don't know if you finished it, but
I didn't finish it.
Bates Motel gets really good, and they get really creative too, because most of Bates Motel, all the way up until the last 4 episodes, all takes place before Psycho. But when they finally get up to where Psycho took place, they get really creative with it, and they fake you out because, like, obviously, some things about Psycho that are so well known, like the shower scene and who's supposed to get killed in the shower scene and stuff like that. When they finally, I don't want to say too much. But when they finally do get up to the shower scene and stuff like that, they switch it up on you, and you don't see it coming. It's a total fake out, just based on the fact that everybody knows the original story.
I see we got Bad Dog in the chat. What's going on, Bad Dog? Thanks for popping in the stream. We got TD Irish, and Bad Dog says, Phantasm is extremely original and awesome.
Phantasm? Christopher Walken? Yeah.
I never saw that one. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
you said Christopher Walken, so I like it.
You're in. There you go. Boom.
I already like it. But
Dead Silence. I haven't even thought about Dead Silence in a while. Dead Silence is a good one.
But yeah, I mean, The Exorcist, obviously the famous scene with the pea soup and everything else. And
and The Exorcist took like 3 or 4 years to make too. The Exorcist was like a ridiculously hard movie for them to make at the time. You could tell the difference in the girl who plays the girl who gets possessed, Claire. You could tell the difference in her age if you watch that movie and you look at the scenes, because she was going through puberty at the time of the movie. So she was like aging extreme. It took them like 3.5 years to make The Exorcist.
It took them 4 years to make The Exorcist?
Yeah, look it up. Yeah, Exorcist took a long time for them to make. And there was like one of those movies where a lot of strange shit was happening on the set that would push things back. That people said was like possessed or what. A lot of those movies are like that, actually. A lot of those classic horror movies, there's a lot of weird stories behind them.
But yeah, that movie's awesome, and obviously they've tried to basically redo that movie in several other formats. There's so many movies now where
I feel like that's like the bar for the possession type of movies.
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot. Like actually, I just rewatched The Conjuring today, and half of Conjuring 2, and I mean, The Conjuring 2 is definitely heavily influenced by The Exorcist. Like, it's definitely in a lot of ways a rip off The Exorcist. But I mean, I love The Conjuring.
Well, even Constantine is kind of semi, related, right?
The scene of Constantine is an exorcism.
Yeah, it's an exorcist scene. But I mean, that's definitely the epic, that type of movie, no doubt about it. And obviously, Poltergeist is great as well.
I even love the classic horror, like the older ones. I love, like, Bride of Frankenstein to me is amazing. I go watch Bride of Frankenstein twice a year and be happy. I love Bride of Frankenstein. I love the old ones, the original Dracula, Invisible Man. Mummy.
How about the new Invisible Man? The new Invisible Man was awesome.
fucking awesome. New Invisible Man was like the surprise of the year. Well, surprise to most people. Me, I always have faith in Blumhouse. If Blumhouse is making a movie, I got faith.
Well, that's a new horror movie that people need to check out if they haven't. The new Invisible Man was
really
awesome.
good. Really good Invisible Man.
Yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed the new Invisible Man. Yeah, I guess we'll just jump around and talk about some of the newer horror movies that we really liked, and just throughout the course of time, whether it's, Scream, we could talk about Scream, we could talk about Saw. There was so many.
When we're on I guess I'm not going to say exactly what, because I don't want to give away, especially Invisible Man. It's relatively new, but the twist in the Invisible Man. I was there with my friends, my fiance, and I turned to her about 40 minutes before they revealed the twist in Invisible Man. I said to her, like, this is what's going on. She looked at me. She's like, you overthink these movies way too much. I was like, okay. And then when they revealed what I was saying, I was like, oh, told you. When it comes to horror movies, that happens. Actually, when I went to see Us in the movie theater, also totally by myself. And when I go see movie theaters, when I go to the movies to see a horror movie by myself, like, I like to try and do it like during the week, like 2 weeks after the movie came out, and be literally the only person in the theater. So I was trying to go see Us. I had it all set up. I was there 5 minutes before. Nobody else is in the theater. And then 2 groups of people come in. They sit like a row in front of me, one to the left, one to the right. I'm just going to give away the twist.
No, don't give it away. Don't give it away.
All right, well, whatever. The first scene of the movie happens, and I say out loud what I thought just happened. And then we flash forward an hour and 40 minutes. And what I said was
basically you ruined the movie for everybody in the theater.
It was exactly on point. And then when the lights go on, everybody stands up during the credits. Everybody turns around and gives me the dirty look. I'm like, what?
Well, because they probably thought you already saw the movie.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, somebody, who is this? Word?
Yeah, what's going on, Word? Thanks for popping in.
Devil's Rejects. I am a massive fan of the Devil's Rejects. The Devil's Rejects to me is like amazing. But you know what's funny about that is I hate House of a Thousand Corpses. House of a Thousand Corpses I think is absolutely terrible. 3 from Hell I thought was good, but Devil's Rejects definitely the gem of the trilogy. Devil's Rejects is fantastic. The Freebird scene at the end of Devil's Rejects is probably the best use of music in movies in the last 30 years.
Get the hell out of here.
Are you kidding me? The Freebird scene in Devil's Rejects?
I got to go back and watch that.
The Freebird scene in Devil's Rejects is like amazing. It's epic. You've never seen it?
I know I've seen it. I haven't seen it in a while. Well, I got to go back and watch it.
Fantastic.
Really? The best usage.
Yeah,
wow.
The Freebird scene at the end of Devil's Rejects is better than anything Freebird's ever been used for. And Freebird could be the greatest song ever made.
I don't know about that. I love Freebird.
Freebird's definitely in the top 10 songs ever made.
Are we going to get into a song? Are we going to get into it?
Yesterday. It's up there with Born to Run.
Now, by the way, now that we're talking about songs, you brought up Yesterday.
I love Yesterday.
Did you see the movie Yesterday? Not that it's horrible. What a cool idea that was.
Yes. The best thing about the movie Yesterday is they didn't try to explain it. There was no like, oh my God, let's figure out what happened. It was just, this is what's going on and let's do the movie. Yeah, Yesterday was awesome.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Yesterday, it's not a horror movie. I highly suggest checking it out. It's a really cool idea for a movie, though. I thought that was an original idea. But yeah, what were we talking about? We just got into Yesterday. What were we talking about?
Devil's Rejects. Captain Spaulding.
Yeah. What I like 3 from Hell 2 Afghanistan. Oh, what's going on, Afghanistan, man? Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
A new Slenderman movie. I did not see Cheese Whiz. I've heard it wasn't too good though.
I have not seen the Slenderman. I saw somebody write The Hills Have Eyes. The Hills Have Eyes I thought was really good. The
Hills Have Eyes, the original from the 1970s, is good. The new ones, I mean, they're not bad, but it's nothing like my fiance actually likes The Hills Have Eyes for some reason. She hates horror movies. I don't really understand that one. But
I thought The Hills Have Eyes was good, the new one.
It's good. I mean, the original's better.
It's definitely gritty. It's definitely
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean,
yeah, I enjoyed it though. I thought it was good. Obviously, you don't want to bring your kids to that movie. There's some
somebody Michael was asking about. See, I just brought up these movies. The Unfriended. I prefer Unfriended 2 to 1, but the funny thing about Unfriended 2 is when they released it in the movie theaters, they released it with 2 different endings. And depending on what theater you went to see it, depends on which ending you got.
Are you kidding me?
It was awesome. Such a good idea. But when I went to see it in a movie theater, I feel like I got the good ending. And the one that they play on cable is like the shitty ending. So I don't know which one you got, but one of them involves somebody getting buried alive, and one of them involves somebody getting hit by a car. The one the person gets buried alive is definitely the better one.
Yeah. Like I said, my brother's a nut job with horror movies. He loves them. Silence of the Lambs is epic. Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
I think
Silence of the Lambs is another one of those movies, though. To be fair, I love Silence of the Lambs. I love anything Hannibal. I love the Hannibal TV shows. I love all the movies.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now. I was not a fan of the movie Hannibal.
I like Hannibal. It's not Silence of the Lambs. It's not as good as Red Dragon.
Red Dragon was good. Red Dragon was very
Red Dragon was good. Yeah.
Hannibal to me, that was a snooze fest.
I like Hannibal. I got to disagree with you on that. But somebody, what was the question they asked me about Hannibal? Now we got all on the side here.
Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs.
All right, Silence of the Lambs. What I was going to say is, as much as I like Silence of the Lambs, I like Hannibal, I like Red Dragon, I don't really know if they fall in the horror category.
How does that not fall in the horror?
People fall in the horror category because it's more of like a thriller to me. I expect Red Dragon's probably the one that comes closest to horror because Red Dragon's, in my eyes, is a little bit more gritty than the other ones. But I definitely feel like they're more of thriller movies. But if you're to ask the average person, top 20 horror movies, I'm sure that's going to show up on most of the lists.
Yeah. Hey, guys, did your brother ever answer who would win? Oh, yes, I was asked this. I said I'll save this for you because you're the biggest Star Wars freak I know. I was asked this last night during my sports stream, and somebody wanted to know. I think it was Logix that asked me. He says, hey, guys, did your brother ever answer the question, who would win in a lightsaber battle, Yoda or Darth Vader?
It's probably going to end up being Vader on that one. Vader has the highest midichlorian reading of anybody. Which
the highest what?
Midichlorian, which I really don't like the idea of midichlorians, but they put them in episode 1, and because they put them in there, you got to realize that Anakin's got the most of them. And that means you have the most potential with the Force, which means that he should be able to beat Yoda.
So there you go. He's got a higher. What is it? A midichlorian? I'm not a huge Star Wars guy like you are. So there you go. Yeah, there you go. There's the answer to that. He's going with Vader in that battle with Yoda versus Vader. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we could talk about so many horror movies. We've talked about a bunch already. How about Scream? Let's jump into Scream. Scream to me was kind of the rebirth, a little bit of slasher movies in a way, right? Because it was kind of a little bit of a doldrum there, and it was kind of an original slasher movie that came out in 94, 95. It was just a fun movie. It had its funny parts. You liked the characters, but the best part about the entire movie was the twist at the end.
Yeah, 2 killers at the end. It was definitely out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming back then.
Nobody saw that coming in a million years. And obviously now, if you've already seen it, it takes away from it. But the first time you saw Scream, and even I think it was Scream 3, I thought was pretty good. I don't remember the rest, but the original Scream, for its time, I thought was a really, really good horror movie in a time period where there wasn't a lot of good horror movies coming out.
Yeah, the original Scream was definitely, the original Scream also at that point was kind of like, it's like in my eyes, you look at like the golden slasher age, it's definitely in like the 80s with the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, the, Michael Myers, all that stuff. But like the 80s was like the prime time for that, and all of like those stereotypes that we now get for slasher movies dawned from that, and Scream was able to play off of like the stereotypes of the slasher movie, like how it makes up the rules, like never say I'll be right back and stuff like that, and they had like all the stereotypical characters. It was like Scream was very nicely set up by the stereotypes of previous slasher movies, and it benefited heavily from that.
Kind of like Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods is different. First off, you want to do Cabin in the Woods?
No, I don't.
We're gonna get to Cabin in the Woods eventually.
We'll save that for another movie review when I get another chance to watch it, and we'll go at it like cats and dogs. Terror Train I've never heard. Have you heard of Terror Train?
I have not heard of Terror Train. Terror Train is something new. I've heard.
Sounds fantastic. But I think it was Wishmaster brought up Children of the Corn. That's another classic series.
Delano was saying that Urban Legend was better than Scream. You are incorrect. Urban Legend was cool. I mean, Urban Legend maybe was kind of like a rip on Scream.
Yeah, and so was what was the one with Jennifer Love Hewitt? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah,
that was kind of like kind of like Scream, the same genre.
Yeah,
those were some of those 90s horror movies when I was like 10, 12 years old that I enjoyed. But Scream to me was the best of the bunch. And then
I think the Scream sequels are good. Scream 2, 3, and 4 all have their moments. I mean, none of them are terrible. Was
it Scream 3 or 2? I don't remember which one. The mother is the killer.
That's 2, I think. 2 is the mother. All of them have somebody who's related to it. I mean, that's kind of like the fall of the series. Scream 4 actually opens up with them mocking the Scream series. They have like Like they're supposed to be making a Scream
That's
movie
right.
based off. It was actually a really funny way to start it. I remember I was watching. I was dying laughing. It was good.
That's right. That's right. And I maybe we'll go all the way back because we should have talked a little bit about. I mean, because you're a big Alfred Hitchcock fan. I'm a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan.
Yeah.
And some of his old. I mean, my favorite. I say it all the time is Rear Window. I think it was a brilliant idea for a movie. It's definitely creepy.
Rear Window was awesome. Rear Window's a very creative movie too. All the music you hear in Rear Window is actually music that's going on inside the story. Like any music that takes place inside a Rear Window it's not like put in after the movie. Like if you hear somebody playing the piano, it's because he's looking at somebody through his binoculars who's playing the piano and stuff like that. And they were able to still use it to like build the tension and stuff. It was really well put together. I love Rear Window.
Yeah, I think Rear Window was my favorite Hitchcock.
Even when they remade it, what was the remake of it called?
It was the one with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
I forgot the name of it, but
I can't think of the name right now. But that was good too.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But I love Rear Window. But obviously, the most popular one, you got Burge, you got Vertigo, but the most popular is Psycho.
Yeah,
and the music is great. The shower scene is obviously.
You know what's funny about Psycho? You could actually go on YouTube. You could try to do this. If you watch Psycho without any music, if you take the music out of Psycho, the movie sucks.
The music is fantastic.
If you would totally take it out of the movie, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, right? So if you try to watch Psycho without any music and just the noise in the movie and stuff like that, it is horrible. You want to talk about a movie that benefits extremely from music? Psycho's got to be at the top of that list. Like Psycho, the suspense and the anxiety and
it's
paranoia.
The same thing like we talked about with Jaws. The music built up the suspense, but
exactly.
But Psycho, yeah, I mean the ultimate twist. I mean at that point in time. And obviously we didn't live back then, but at that point in time, that was probably the greatest twist in movie history. I mean, one of them. That's
still one of the greatest twists in movie history.
It's still one of the greatest twists in movie history. And Norman Bates is obviously fantastic. He's that creepy character. I absolutely love that movie. I could still watch that movie today and love it.
I do still watch that movie sometimes.
You watch it every week. You watch
Psycho 2 is really good too. Nobody appreciates Psycho 2. The twist at the end of Psycho 2 is really good.
I'm going to throw out another classic horror series, and I don't remember the sequels. Now, they remade this one as well, just like every other horror movie. I love Omen.
Oh, yeah. Omen's awesome. The remake sucked.
I didn't see the remake.
Yeah, the original Omen's freaking awesome. That's one of those movies we used to watch as kids all the time.
We must have watched that 8 times as kids growing up.
Yeah, Omen's fantastic. When I love the scene where the thing falls off the top of the church, like that huge spear goes right through the guy.
Yeah.
Or the part where the guy's head cut off by a piece of glass or whatever.
Yeah.
Omen's awesome. Love it.
You got the 666 on the back of the head. Omen. If you guys haven't seen Omen, that's an older horror movie. It's a very famous one. So if you're a horror fan, I'm sure you've seen it. But that's another one that I absolutely love that I probably want to go back and watch. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember loving that growing up as a kid. That's one of my favorite all time.
Mitch brought up the original House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price was excellent. Let me tell you something. You're going to go back and watch old horror movies, like I guess you could say 60s back. Vincent Price has everything that guy's in. I love. He's in the original House on Haunted Hill, like Vince brought up, which the original House on Haunted Hill was awesome. He's in the original Fly, another fantastic one. Last Man on Earth. I mean, if I was to look up Vincent Price's IMDb right now, I'd probably pull up 15 horror movies that I could watch at pretty any given time. I love Vincent Price, Vici.
Yeah, we got another really good, and I know you love this. And TD Irish hit it right on the head. The Thing with Kurt Russell.
Oh, the thing is there's never been anything else to encapsulate the feeling of paranoia and suspense. And I mean, just The Thing held you on the edge of your seat the whole time and tickled your asshole. The Thing is so good. I absolutely love The Thing. And the Thing just creeps you out too. I mean, and they tried doing a new thing probably 10 years ago now, and it sucked.
I saw it once, and I remember saying this just isn't the same.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But the Thing is freaking awesome. I absolutely love The Thing. I thought it was amazing. Great movie. Definitely one of the better. And you can't with Kurt Russell, you can't really go wrong.
Kurt Russell's the man. Actually, I watched this other movie. It definitely kind of falls into the horror category too. The other night with him, it's called Bone Tomahawk, where he plays. It came out the same year as Hateful Eight. He definitely filmed it at the same time too, because he looks just like it, and it's like a western. And it's about a guy who goes out and he's basically hunting down these Indians and stuff with him. I mean, I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but yeah, Don't Tom Hall. Interesting one.
Killing asked me this question earlier today. Maybe we'll do a review on Transformers. I haven't seen that movie in a while. The original was good. The original was good.
Like okay at best. Most of the Transformers are unwatchable.
Well, the Transformers are it's an action movie, but in terms of the story, after the first, maybe even the second one, I haven't seen like the last couple.
No, I've probably seen those. I might have seen them all once. I don't know, but yeah, Transformers suck. Transformers are really bad.
I like the first one.
I mean, if you like Michael Bay movies, you'll like the Transformers.
Well, I like Michael Bay movies.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Bay movies are great, right? Nothing but explosions and gunshots, and you know, they get 2 hours and 10 minutes of explosions and gunshots, and 5 minutes of storytelling.
Sounds like my kind of movie. But no, but I like the original Transformers. Let's see what we got here. American Psycho, Afghanistan.
Is American Psycho a horror movie though? I don't know. I love American Psycho. Christian Bale, he plays a great. But
Christian Bale's great in everything. That guy, I feel like that guy's a real psycho in real life.
Christian Bale in real life. Christian Bale could make a movie about taking a crap for 2 hours, and he could probably pull an Oscar out of it at this point.
Oh,
Christian Bale.
We got a really good one here. We got a really good one here from Jay. You want to talk about one of the greatest twists in movie making history, and it's the type of movie that you are almost forced to. You have to watch it a second time because the twist is so good the first time that I saw it. Then you want to go back and see how you didn't pick up on the twist. The Sixth Sense.
Oh, yeah.
The Sixth Sense, one of the best twists in movie making history, and I don't say it enough when we talk about the best twist. That is a great one. M. Night Shyamalan has made a lot of horrible movies. That one happens to be his best.
I actually think that the second viewing of The Sixth Sense is more fulfilling than the first viewing of The Sixth Sense because of the fact that you're going back and you're trying to figure out how you missed this. Yeah, I definitely think that The Sixth Sense is like one of those. It's very rare you can say that about a movie, but the second time you see The Sixth Sense is definitely better than the first time you see The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, because after you see it, you're like, after they tell you the twist, you're like, how the hell did I not know that from the start of this movie? Yeah. And then you realize that the whole movie, he's not actually talking to anybody.
Yeah.
And
very cleverly put together.
Very cleverly put together.
Not long either. Sixth Sense is like, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of horror movies like 90 minutes in and out. But The Sixth Sense, like, though, you know, when you think about The Sixth Sense, it doesn't fall into like that category of horror movies. You think there was a little bit more to it and stuff. But Sixth Sense, I'm pretty sure, is like 90 minutes flat. Also, it's like the perfect timing. You're in and out, and you just don't see it coming. It's like getting hit by a freight train at the end of that movie. You're like, what the hell just happened?
Delano says he saw it coming. He thought it was overrated. He saw it. I did not. I was a kid.
Mom says she picked out that twist before it happened.
Who?
Mom.
Really?
Yeah, I don't believe it. I mean, when's the last time Mom stayed awake in a movie for a whole movie too?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure some people picked up on it. I never did. But I thought that was a brilliant twist. I thought it was really well done. Yeah, that's a really good one that I don't think about a lot because you usually think about thrashers and things like that. That doesn't really classify as that, but it's definitely classified as a horror movie. Really good one.
It's a really good modern day horror movie too. I think you might have brought this up to somebody brought it to me recently. It might be you. Have you seen Sinister?
Yeah, yes, I have. Yes, that's with Ethan Hawke, right?
Sinister's, with the kids and the videotape. Sinister's a really good modern day horror movie. People overlook.
There's a scene in Sinister, you know, where he's watching the tapes and it's showing you, I guess, the way I think.
Oh, you see the thing's head turn?
Well, that, and how about the scene where he goes over them with the lawnmower?
Yeah.
But Sinister was a really good one. That was a good one.
I like the second Sinister. I don't know if you saw the second one. The second one's on Netflix also. But the second Sinister is pretty solid too. But the first Sinister, it basically does the Jaws thing. They only show you, I forget the name of whatever the being is or whatever. But the only time you really see it in that whole movie is that scene I'm talking about where you have like, it's like whatever, the camera's like zoomed on and like you're looking at this thing for like 10 seconds and then all of a sudden you see the face move of like whatever. Sinister's definitely put together really well.
Yeah, Sinister's great. Cheese Whiz says that lawnmower scene gave my child self-nightmare. Yeah, when I saw that in theaters,
how old is your child that you're showing him Sinister?
Well, maybe you just saw it in the background. Who knows? But that movie scared the hell out of me the first time I saw it. That was a really good one for a modern day horror movie, and I don't get scared easily.
I was thinking about also when we were going to do this, actually, I wanted to bring up before I forget about it. Remember the movie Arachnophobia?
Oh, God, that's a good one.
Arachnophobia is a good one.
Arachnophobia is hysterical.
It's a good one. I mean, yeah, I mean, parts of it are funny. John Goodman's really funny.
John Goodman is great when he steps on the spider.
Yeah, steps on the spider stuff. Arachnophobia is a good one. That would definitely fall under the horror genre. I like
I forgot about that movie. I've seen that movie a bunch. Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels and John Goodman and
yeah. That's a good one where you see the spiders all over the house and everything.
Yeah, and then at the end they gotta burn down the whole entire wine cellar or whatever.
Yeah. Arachnophobia is Amityville Horror. There you go, Bad Dog. There's a good one.
10 minutes from
Hey, don't tell people where we live. We live relatively close to Amityville Horror.
They give an exact address? No, we live 10 minutes from the Amityville Horror. You will find us.
Yeah, and then they remade that. Ryan Reynolds was in the remake.
Yeah, the remake was right. I mean, Amityville Horror overall, I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, I don't think they're bad. It just, I don't know. I think that the story of the Amityville Horror is kind of bullshit. You know what I think is the best version of the Amityville Horror story is the first 10 minutes of Conjuring 2. The second Conjuring movie opens up with the Amityville Horror, and I think that was the best interpretation of it.
Yeah. Delano says, I think it was more comedy as well. Arachnophobia. I don't really consider it much of a horror movie, but it's a good movie. Even if it
classifies comedy, if anything, thriller. I mean, definitely.
I think it's
there's
like
some comedy elements in it. I mean, there's some comedy elements in all horror movies, though.
I think it's like half and half. Another. We were talking about twists, and they've made 1 million of these movies now. But Saw.
Oh, Saw, yeah, Saw's fun. I like the Saws too. As bad as they get, they're still fun. I'm a big horror guy though. I'm kind of really into I'm really into all forms of horror, but that would fall into what they call torture porn, really intense stuff where you see people going through whatever trap they're going through in that Saw movie, and it gets really gross. And I'm a big fan of those types of horror movies. I love the Saws. I love the Hostels. Martyrs is another one. Somebody else I saw brought that up. I mean, there's a lot of them, but the original Saw is one of the. No, the original Saw. When I first walked out of the movie theater with it, I was like, "Wow, that movie was great. That was incredible." And then I went back to see it again, and I saw it again. I was like, "All right, it was really clever what they did, but it's kind of a crappy movie." But I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like Saw. When I say a crappy movie in the horror genre, it's not a bad thing necessarily.
I love Saw. I think that's right up there again. That's what's great about all these horror movies. A lot of them have great twists, and that one is one of the best. The whole time the killer's in the room, and he's, you would never suspect that to be the case. I thought Saw was so clever.
The first 3 Saws, the first 3 Saws, I feel like were really well done. After that, kind of gets a little ridiculous and stuff, but the first 3 Saws are really good.
Saw 2 was good. There was a lot of, it's funny because we've talked about this with a lot of other movies. We've talked about it with Alien. There was another Alien, and there was another movie where it was basically not so much action in the original, and then the second one, it's way over the top, much like in Alien. It was the same thing with Saw. The first Saw, it was kind of just one room, and then Saw 2, it became like a whole, fun house.
Yeah, they definitely bumped it up a little bit.
They bumped it up a little bit, much like a lot of other movies that they do in the sequels. But I still definitely enjoyed the second Saw. I've seen probably 4 of them. It got to a point where it was all right, enough is enough. But the first Saw to me is one of the better horror movies I've ever seen, especially modern day horror movies.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it pretty much brought up the extreme horror. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Jason is always down to punch somebody's head off or dismember somebody or something like that. But it's a little different than the level that the Saws or the Hostels were brought it to. Yeah.
What else? The Blob. I mean, the Blob's definitely a fun movie.
I like the Blob. I like the original Blob, the one with McQueen, the one with Steve McQueen. The original Blob's way better than probably the one you're thinking about that has.
I'm talking about the one in the 80s.
Yeah, that's the one with Matt Dillon or whatever, the guy from Entourage, whatever his name is. I can't think of it.
Kevin Dillon?
Maybe something like that. But yeah, he was in that. Yeah, I mean, it's still fun. The original's definitely better of the two. Yeah, the Blob's definitely a good one. I mean,
that's a classic.
You gotta freeze it to stop it.
Wait, what did you say?
In order to stop the Blob, you gotta freeze it, right? That's how you freeze it.
The Blob's good, and I've talked about The Mist before. I like the twist of that at the end. That's kind of similar to the Blob in a way.
I actually rewatched The Mist 3 nights ago. Mist is good. Mist is really good. Mist is solid. I haven't watched it in a while. Mist is really even before you get to the twist. The Mist is really good.
I'm gonna have to watch that again tonight. Now I love that movie.
This is really good. Solid flick.
Yeah, gotta go watch The Mist again. Absolutely love it. Put it in your homework assignment, guys.
Now we're talking about horror movies. I guess we might as well bring up the It. Actually, we brought this up already. Okay, this is my take on it. The original It from the 90s or whatever, not a fan of. I think it's really cheesy, not a big fan of. And then they came back, now what, 2 years ago, and they released the first part of this one, and I was in. I was all in. I was ready to go for the second one. I thought it was done fantastically. I bought the first one digitally. I was like, I might as well keep this. The second one's coming out in 6 months. God knows I'm going to want to watch it again. Let me tell you something. When I went to see It 2, it was probably the most disappointed I've been in anything, any movie, easily in the last 5 years. I mean, not maybe not. Rise of Skywalker's up there too, but It 2 sucked. And I know you're going to tell me, oh,
No. I'm listening. Go ahead.
It 2 was so cheesy, and like going into it, I remember looking at the cast and I was like, wow, they got all these people. It seems like this is going to be great. They look just like these people. They got the same director and writer on from the first one. I'm like, what could possibly go wrong? The cast sucked. That's what went wrong. The original It worked so well because they got these kids together, which is like one of the big failures of like movies, probably more horror movies, is that when you need to depend on childhood actors, it usually doesn't end up being that good. Lately, we've been breaking that stereotype because like you got Stranger Things and stuff, but the first It, the child actors were on point, and then you fast forward to the second one, and every single person they casted for one of these kids, it was almost like watching like a parody of the first one. I was watching It 2. It was almost like it was like a spoof on the original It. That's how I felt about it. Like every actor was terrible in it. I mean, the end of the It book is already crap. So I mean, I guess there really wasn't a way of getting around it, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a shitty ending. And yeah, it's just it turns into a crab at the end or whatever. I mean, it was just come on.
So guys, if you want to see it too and you haven't seen it, don't see it. No, but in all seriousness, that to me, the first one, it is kind of the rare remake in the horror genre that is better than the original.
Well, I mean, I think that the remake of the Evil Dead is better than Evil Dead 1. I don't know if it's better than Evil Dead 2, but it's better than the original Evil Dead. The remake of the new Evil Dead is one of the most intense movies ever. I don't know if anybody here has seen the remake of the new Evil Dead, but every single scene, including the first scene, you watch that movie and you're like, holy shit, this has got to be the most intense scene of the whole entire movie. It can't get crazier than this. And then the next scene starts, and it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. It's just 90 minutes of one-upping the scene before, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, that movie's awesome. But I thought the first the remake was really good. It was definitely a movie that kept you on the edge of your seat the entire time. It was a lot of suspense, a lot of action, and it was just really good. One
of the things that I would turn and say about the second one too, a big problem with it was the fact of how long it was. But it's kind of hard to say that because part one was like 20 minutes shorter. Like the second one was 3 hours and 15 minutes, and the first one was 2 hours and 55 minutes. And the first one I think was awesome. So obviously it's not just the timing. It was the shitty writing and the shitty acting. And
the story just wasn't as good either.
No, not at all. But I mean, that's one of those things people have always said about it, that the first half of it's always the better half. I mean, I get that, but that doesn't justify how bad the second movie was. Like, I literally could have walked out of the second one if I wasn't with other people. I mean, when I walked, after the movie was over, we all stood up. Everybody had the same agreement with it. But yeah, I was so amped for it, too. I was, like, ready to go. I was pumped up. I was pumped up to go see it, too. And, yeah, it didn't play out the way I wanted it to.
It fell short for you. I'm with you. I mean, the original is definitely much better than the sequel. I was able to sit through it and enjoy it, but I completely understand where you're coming from with it too. It was definitely not nearly as good as the original one. I'll definitely say that. I will absolutely agree with that. And Bandol's throwing out some classics here. Toolbox Murderers. You ever hear of that?
What about The Shining?
We have not said The Shining. Of course, Jack Nicholson. They just made a sequel to that. I haven't seen it yet. Did I lose you, Greg? Greg?
Yeah, he lost for a second. I'm back.
Okay. I was saying they just made a sequel to that, which I have not seen yet, The Shining.
Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep was really good. Dr. Sleep was a solid flick. But let's talk about The Shining for a second. I mean, The Shining, huge fan of The Shining. Love Jack Nicholson. Love Kubrick. But the original Shining movie, as good as it is still a massive letdown compared to the book. The book of The Shining, when I read the book of The Shining, I was absolutely terrified. I saw the movie first, then I read the book, and then you go back and watch the movie, you realize that the movie actually missed a lot of what the potential could have been from the book. But what they did was really clever in the second one is, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but the book, I'm going to give away a couple of things, actually, just to make my point. In the book of the original Shining gets burned down at the end. The Overlook Hotel gets burned down at the end. and stuff like that because the boiler explodes or something they're supposed to be watching. And a lot of people are fans of the book of The Shining. Are really disappointed that the movie strayed so far from the book. And you could tell that the guy who made the second movie was a huge fan of the book and of the movie because he took. I mean, I'm not going to give it all away, I guess, but he takes like major parts of the book that were left out, and he brings them into the last third of Doctor Sleep. And like kind of like he gives it like a justified ending for like what the sequel to the book would have been and what the sequel to the movie would be. And it was really cleverly done. But I mean, even outside of that, though, Doctor Sleep was really fucking good. When you finally get to the Overlook Hotel in the final third of Doctor Sleep, you're ready to go. You're fired up. I mean, you should watch Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep's solid.
I have not seen that yet, but obviously The Shining is epic with Nicholson. That's one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Yeah.
You know, from start to finish.
Love The Shining.
That's another movie I have to relive. I haven't seen it in a while, but that's another movie that's definitely up there with one of the top 10 horror movies of all time by most people's standards.
Yeah. Somebody in here, Cheese was asking for a zombie movie. Want to talk about good zombie movies? All right. We can talk about. I put Dawn of the Dead, the 2003 remake of Dawn of the Dead with Ving Rhames. You remember that one? Right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Trapped in the mall.
Well, and then you got the parrot. You got Shaun of the Dead, which was funny.
Oh, yeah, I was about to go into the comedies, but yeah, Shaun. You got Zombielands too. Both the Zombielands are fantastic. Zombielands are awesome. But
I just saw the new Zombieland about 2 months ago. Loved it.
Fucking awesome. The Bill Murray scene at the end of Zombieland 2 is fantastic.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson, it's great. Absolutely fantastic. I'm with you on that. Zombieland was really good for like a parody horror movie.
Yeah, 100%. Night of the Living Dead. Someone who's bringing Woods. Night of the Living Dead's fantastic.
I always forget the name of it. They made two of them. It was in like England. It's like a quarantine movie.
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they were solid. I remember when I first saw it, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I went back and I've rewatched it. It's definitely a pretty good one.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
It's a solid flick.
Yeah, I that's a zombie movie. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I guess that would fall under zombie category.
There's a couple for you. But yeah, definitely, obviously, Dawn of the Dead is probably the most famous one.
Yeah, I mean, the original Dawn of the Dead is really good, too, because that's a remake of a movie from, like, 1973, I think. The original Dawn of the Dead's fantastic also, but I definitely like the newer one with Ving Rhames a little bit more, where, you know, the two parts of that movie that stand out to me is the fat zombie. There's, like, a fat lady that dies, and, like, she dies, and, like, she becomes, like, this huge zombie running after her with saggy boobies and stuff. That's very entertaining. And then the pregnant lady who turns into a zombie, and they give birth to the zombie baby. It's freaking awesome stuff.
Greg definitely loves his horror movies, if you couldn't tell. Now what do we in terms of newer movies? We went over Us. We didn't go over Get Out.
Get Out is awesome. I rewatched Get Out in the last couple of days too. Actually, fucking love Get Out.
Get Out is great.
Get Out is fantastic. Get Out's so good because like it's an original idea. It's very funny at points. Like, you know, they Get Out, like the Jordan Peele movies, both of them, Get Out and Us, both of them, they're both original ideas. I think Get Out's definitely better of the two, but they both they're very comedic at times. Both of them you can watch and you'll find yourself literally laughing out loud for points of them. But yeah, the idea between Get Out, like the clicking of the glass, like that being a trigger and stuff like that,
the hypnotism,
so it's just such a cool idea, and like I love how in like that they they bring everybody together to come see this guy that they're going to do this thing to. Like they bring the black guy in, and then they bring all the old white friends in, and then they have an auction to see who's going to get them, and the blind guys ends up being the one who takes them and stuff. Get Out.
To me, in terms of filming, the coolest scene in that movie to me is when he falls into.
He falls in and he's going. Ah!
Yeah, what do they call that?
I don't remember exactly what it's called.
But yeah, every time she hypnotizes him, you see it. Basically, it's like his soul, I guess. It's like he could see, you see through his eyes from a distance, and he's like trapped inside his body.
And when you rewatch the movie after that, when you get to the scenes where he bumps into the other black people who work there, or the guy who screams at him, "Get out, get out!" He sees the black guy who went through the same procedure that they're trying to put him through, and then he tries to take a picture of his phone, and a flash goes off.
Right.
And it triggers that guy. And after you know like what's going on and like what you're talking about, him falling backwards into like it looks like when he's falling backwards.
The sunken place. That's
Sunken
what
place, yeah.
yeah.
But when he's falling backwards, it almost looks like he's looking at like a TV screen surrounded by like space or something like that. And after you know the whole entire story, you go back and watch it again. When you watch those scenes where he interacts with these people, the same thing. It's the guy I was talking about. Then there's the maid, and there's like the groundskeeper, and he interacts with these people. And there's moments where you see them like days out, and like that, and when you're rewatching, you realize that what they're supposed to be experiencing is kind of what he experiences, where he's going backwards, and it almost looks like he's looking at TV, and like you could see, you could like the actors, I guess, did a really good job because they were able to portray the feeling that he had as they're talking to him without showing them falling into the
sunken place.
Yeah, sunken place. Get Out's really good.
Yeah, Get Out was awesome. It was nominated for Best Picture.
Get Out's like, I'd say it's probably the best horror movie of the last couple.
And a movie that I thought was kind of similar, not obviously in storyline, but just the way that it was like semi-politically related, and it had moments of comedy that I saw that you told me to watch. That is a newer horror movie that I absolutely loved. Also, The Hunt.
Oh, The Hunt is fantastic. The Hunt is so good. So that's another one. Very funny movie. The Hunt is very, very funny when you're watching it.
Yeah, and it has that political undertone to it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it kind of shows you how people are hypocritical, right? Because the liberals are trying to kill the conservatives, but at the same time now they're basically doing what they criticize those people for doing. Yeah. And it taught you a lesson in a way, and it was just a lot of action, and it was great.
I love it. I liked it really a lot about The Hunt. When I first watched The Hunt, because The Hunt starts off, they basically throw you right into the beginning of The Hunt, and like. I saw the trailers to it, and I knew Hilary Swank was in it. She turns out she's not in until the last 20 minutes of the movie. You don't see Hilary Swank. But until when the movie started and you see all these characters waking up and stuff like that, I was looking around, and I had no idea who the main character was. Like, it ends up being the blonde-haired chick. But, like, you're like at the beginning of that movie, I'm trying to, like, piece together, like, who am I going to be following through most of this movie? And I'm like, all right, it's going to be this guy. And 5 minutes later, boom, he gets blown up. Oh, okay, it must be this guy. 10 minutes later, he gets chopped in half. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Delano says he hasn't seen it. You've got to see it. Anybody that hasn't seen The Hunt, I think it's you don't even need to like horror movies to like it. It's just a really good movie, I think. It keeps you on the edge of the seat.
And that's all those. It's not really much of a horror. It definitely falls in the horror category, but it's like a very dark comedy.
And the fight scene at the end was awesome.
Yeah, it's like John Wick. It's like 2 girls had a John Wick fight at the end for like 15 minutes straight. It's fantastic.
It was absolutely great movie. Absolutely love The Hunt. One of my favorite horror movies that has come out over the last 3, 4, 5 years, along with Get Out. But I think those are some of our favorite, more modern horror movies. I'm sure there's
Invisible Man. You can throw up there too, which we already talked about. I put that up there with those in terms of like modern horror. Like if you were to pick your top 10 horror movies of the last 15 years. All those would have to go in there. Obviously, Cabin in the Woods would be number 1.
Where can I see it? Cheese Whiz says. I mean, The Hunt.
I pay $20 and order it.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Fire Stick, so we watch it for free. But
you can order it for Redbox probably by your 7-Eleven. Go to 7-Eleven.
Yeah, you can probably get it at Redbox. But Greg, what were you saying?
What was I saying?
You were bringing up a movie in the last 15 years.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Get Out. Get Out, Invisible Man, they definitely have to be in your top 10 list. So does Cabin in the Woods from the last 15 years. Right?
Yeah, not for me. But for you, yes, not for me.
We got Vigi in here. He's asking about What Lies Beneath. What Lies Beneath is one of those movies that I love. Some people really don't like What Lies Beneath. I thought What Lies Beneath was fantastic. Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe. Right? Yeah.
What about does Hollow Man? Is that a horror movie? Hollow Man?
Yeah, but Hollow Man's like a bad take on Invisible Man. Hollow Man's the worst take on Invisible Man. I know you always liked it with Kevin Bacon and stuff. Hollow Man's more of an action movie, probably, but I mean, it definitely falls in the category. Invisible Man itself is just a hard genre almost at this point.
Yeah, it was basically The Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon. I liked. I mean, I was a kid, so maybe I wouldn't like it as much now if I saw it again. But I liked it when I was a kid.
Good horror movie with Kevin Bacon is Stigmata. From the 90s. Did you ever see that one?
Stigmata, I saw that was good.
Sorry. Stir of Echoes? Is he Stigmata or Stir of Echoes? I don't know. He might have been both, to be honest with you. Those are both really good.
I've seen both. I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen both. I can't remember. You know what our other really good horror movies we haven't touched on? What? The Johnny Depp ones. The Headless Horseman, Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, Sleepy Hollow is awesome. Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow was really good.
Yeah. That's another one. Was Sleepy Hollow is almost like an action movie that takes from like a horror story. Obviously, the story of the Headless Horseman is a horror story.
Yeah, but I thought that was awesome. Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, I like the
and then he was also Jack the Ripper.
Oh, From Hell.
Yeah, From Hell. Yeah.
From Hell was a solid flick. Yeah, From Hell.
Yeah, so Johnny Depp made a couple of good horror movies.
Yeah, Johnny Depp used to make good movies.
He used to, back in the day.
That can go.
Yeah. Fright Night. Fright
Night's really good. The remake was even okay.
I saw Bad Dog earlier in the stream talking about Creep Show. I remember Creep Show.
Oh, Creep Show. Creep Show 1 and 2. I love both. The third one, though, they made the third Creep Show like 5 years ago. It was terrible. But yeah, Creep Show 1 and 2. Creep Show 1 and 2, I love. Leslie Nielsen.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, there's a couple of good ones. Also, the meteor falls in the guy's backyard and starts growing like fungus all over the place. Remember, he has to shoot himself in the head. And the guy who gets eaten by the bugs, too. Remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the guy who gets eaten by the bugs and stuff. Oh, my gosh.
Well, now, what about Twilight Zone? I know he's a big fan, but I know you're a huge fan.
Huge fan. I loved it. I even like the new Twilight Zone season. They just released season 2 with Jordan Peele. It just came out. There's some really good episodes in there. But yeah, I'm a massive Twilight Zone fan. I've been a Twilight Zone fan my whole life. I mean, still, even now, New Year's Eve, before I go out or do whatever, they have that marathon on Sci-Fi every year. I'm always watching the Twilight Zone. I've probably seen every Twilight Zone multiple times.
My favorite Twilight Zone episode, the one that always sticks out to me, is the Mask episode.
The Mask is a good one. And then, obviously, Eye of the Beholder.
Eye of the Beholder, yes.
Yeah, that's a really solid one. And actually, one they just made a sequel to on this new season I'm talking about, the cookbook one. What's it called? To Serve Man. That's one of the best Twilight Zones. The one where they have the. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. But it was actually in season 2. The last episode of season 2 is a sequel to Serve Men from the original Twilight Zone, and it's really good.
They made a Twilight Zone movie also.
Twilight Zone movie is solid. Twilight Zone movie is it's split up.
That's the one on the plane, right? That's the one on the.
Yeah, that's the last part of it.
The last part of it. Yeah.
It's one of the 4 stories. The first one's about a racist guy who he's a racist guy. You see him in like a bar talking crap to like black people and Jewish people and stuff. And then he leaves the bar and he ends up being like a black person who's getting he gets treated like a black guy who's getting chased by like the KKK in the 50s. And then he ends up as being a Viet Cong in the Vietnam War, getting chased by Twilight Zone movie was solid. I like Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone always makes you think. Let's see what we got here. Hostel. What's going on, Amir? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. Hostel, obviously.
I love Hostel. I prefer Hostel 2 to Hostel 1 because Hostel 1 was kind of like Hostel 1. You didn't really know what you were getting yourself into the first time you watched it, and it's all just telling you the introduction to this idea of people paying to brutally kill other people. Basically, that's what it sums up to. But then the second Hostel, since the idea was already introduced, they did the clever thing and they showed it from the other side. It's supposed to be the people that are getting captured and about to be tortured to death. They still show that, but they also show the side of the people that are paying this company. And it definitely added a lot to it. I think Hostel 2 is definitely better. I even like Hostel 3. Hostel 3 was like a direct-to-video type thing, but you can find it. It used to be on Netflix. I don't think it's on there anymore. But you can find Hostel 3 is really good, too.
And MH says that you got a ghost in the house.
Yeah, I might.
No, I mean, you're talking about horror movies, so it would make sense. Insidious was good. Yeah, Insidious was definitely one of the more popular.
I always brought up The Conjuring. I just rewatched The Conjuring, and I must have forgotten that whole. I forgot so much about that movie. I was watching it this morning, and I have a basement apartment, so there's not too many windows. And my fiance went out to do something, and I turned off every single light in my whole entire apartment and blocked out every piece of sun I could possibly get out. And I turned The Conjuring on. The Conjuring is fucking awesome. The Conjuring is I can't really call it underrated because Conjuring was very well taken in by people, but The Conjuring is definitely one of those movies that I like. I didn't give its due to.
There was I can't remember the name of it. Jared made me go to the theater with him about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a really popular horror movie when it came out, and it was awful. I can't remember I thought it was awful. I can't remember the name of it though. But at the end, they fall out of the attic, and then there's
Hereditary. Hereditary.
That movie sucked.
You're
That movie
Hereditary
sucked.
is so good.
Oh, that movie sucked.
Hereditary is like one of those movies that was really good, but I'll never watch it again because it really bugged me out at points.
Oh,
Like,
Hereditary was so overrated.
Oh, was it?
I left that movie so underwhelmed. Everybody talked about how good it was going to be.
Hereditary was good.
Oh, it was horrible. It's one of the worst.
I thought that being one of those movies you either love or you hate, though.
Oh, it sucked. It sucked.
No, it didn't. You also see Cabin in the Woods sucked. I mean, what do you know?
No.
You don't like Hooper.
I could understand why somebody would like Cabin in the Woods. I cannot understand why anybody would like Hereditary. That movie was so overhyped.
Somebody asked, better found footage. So Woods is asking, better found footage movie, Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity. Probably Paranormal Activity, but neither one of them is really that good of a found footage movie. There's some really good ones out there. VHS is really good. The Temple is really good. Cloverfield is really good.
Cloverfield is awesome.
Yeah, there's some really good found footage movies. When you use that to when you go with that angle to make a movie, there's been some of them that have been done really well. I like the idea of the found footage movie. The movie that comes across as being a real as opposed to fake, like Blair Witch Project, where they film with handheld cameras, like guerrilla style. There's actually another good one I liked was it's called Apollo. I want to say it's called Apollo 14 or 15 or something. It's another Blumhouse movie. I'd have to look up the exact name of it, but I like found footage movies. VHSs are the first two are really good. There's also another one called Record. It's a Spanish movie with subtitles. It's a zombie movie, but they're really good too.
Huh. Yeah, I know Cloverfield. Cloverfield, I love one of my favorite monster movies. What's going on, Alphabet Man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Mike Marina says VHS is good.
VHS is real good.
Let's see what we got here.
Creep. Yeah, there's another. Yeah, that's right. There's another one called Creep. Creep is Sports Critics said it. Creep. Yeah, there's Creep 1 and Creep 2. I think they're making Creep 3 right now. Creeps are awesome too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never.
You gotta step your weight up on these ones.
Never heard of these ones, but we went over most of the classics. We went over the Hitchcocks. We went over some of the older ones. I don't know all the ins and outs of all the the snuff films that you guys that you may know. I've seen the popular horror movies. I'm not a horror fanatic. I know you are. I know a lot of the people in this chat are. But yeah, I mean, any other modern day horror movies you want to touch on?
I mean, off the top of my head, I could think of right now. I can't. I feel like horror movies are actually making a comeback right now.
But no, they definitely are.
We pretty much touched on most of the ones I feel like are. Whether or not you like, I mean, the ones that pretty much brought it back, I'd say Get Out, Us. As much as you just talk crap about Hereditary, and that
Hereditary was bad.
Invisible Man. Horror movies are definitely on their way back because it is. People are starting to get you're starting to get the clever horror movies again. As opposed for a while, you had like the slashers were really big in the 80s and the original slasher. No, there's a couple of Scream was not the 80s. That was in the 90s. That was still clever, but slashers really quickly deteriorated into just fun movies that you could watch with a bunch of friends that are kind of pointless. And yeah, horror movies definitely fell out. I would say in late 90s, early 2000s, but they're definitely on their way back now. And I'd say that's because they're starting to make ones that are more complex. Get Out is not a simple idea. Get Out to convey the idea that they were trying to convey, and Get Out was definitely more complicated than say Jason X.
Of course.
So I definitely that's the reason.
This live stream is more complicated than Jason X. Annabelle, a lot of people bringing up Annabelle. Carrie, that's a classic.
Carrie's really good. Annabelle, I love the Conjuring movies. I'm not a big fan of Annabelle. I even like The Nun better than I like the Annabelle movies, and The Nun sucked.
Yeah, I saw Annabelle. I don't think I saw The Nun.
Annabelle's.
I thought Annabelle was all right, but it was.
Have you seen The Conjuring? You haven't seen The Conjuring.
I don't think. You know what I did see that I loved was God, what the hell was the name of it? They made two of them. The Collector.
Oh, Collector's awesome.
The Collector is awesome.
Yeah, Collector. I like Collectors a lot. Yeah, the Collector's. That's almost like a torture porn type.
You want to talk about a movie? I think it was the sequel that I saw at first. I saw both of them. Start to finish, you don't get a break.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just constant action and.
Did you see both of them? There's two of them.
Yeah, I saw both of them.
One of them was almost like a Home Alone type thing. It's like the horror version of Home Alone because they're in the house and the guy just sets up all these traps throughout the whole entire house.
Yeah.
It's like Home Alone, almost just like the X-rated version.
Yeah, I love that one. I love that
they're
one.
both really good. They said they were going to make a third. I think the first one's called one's called The Collector, one's called The Collection, and I think the third one was supposed to be called I don't remember. They definitely were talking about making a third one before this whole entire COVID thing happened. I'm sure they'll still make it eventually. I hope they do.
Let's see what we got here. JC says scariest scene I've ever seen wasn't in a horror movie technically. David Lynch's Lost Highway. There's a bed scene. If anyone saw the movie, they'd know what I mean.
I actually have not seen that movie. I am a David Lynch fan, though, but I haven't seen that one. I'm going to have to remember that one. I'll write it down. I mean, scariest scenes in horror movies, that's kind of like a hard thing for me to grasp. I mean, honestly, I think that The Thing has that scene where they're testing the blood. They all have to, like, give a little bit of blood into a petri dish.
Yeah.
And they put up, like, a wire and put it in. And, like, one of them pops out. And, like, you know it's coming. And you know it's coming and stuff. But, like, I get just the way they like slide it in there. Honestly, I think that's one of the best jump scares, at least in horror movies. I'm a massive fan of The Thing. I love The Thing.
Thing is awesome. Best ghost movie. I mean, when you think ghost movie, you think Poltergeist.
There's a lot of good ghost movies. Yeah, Poltergeist. What about The Others? The Others is a really good.
The Others is a good one.
The Others is a really good ghost movie that has like that really. That's got a really good twist too. The twist in The Others. I would say I don't know if that's the best one. I'm just throwing a ghost movie out there. But The Others has got that really good twist at the end of it.
The Others is a good one. The Others is a good ghost. I still say Poltergeist got to be the best.
It's definitely up there. I'd really have to put some thought into that before I could give a definitive answer. But I mean, there's so many. I mean, ghosts. It's like I love the Paranormal Activities. Those fall into ghost movie. I mean, even The Conjuring probably falls under a ghost movie to some extent. And there's just so many. I really have to put some thought into that before I can give an answer.
I have no idea what that movie is. There, Cleaver by Chris Moltisanti. Never heard of that one.
Christopher Moltisanti. It's the movie he makes in The Sopranos.
So it's like a trick. Okay. Well done there, blue collar. Good job there. What's going on, sports expert? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Let's see what we got here. Have you guys ever seen The Evil Dead? Bruce Campbell looks like Daniel Jones. Yeah, of course.
I've ever seen The Evil Dead. No, it's actually really good. But obviously, all the Evil Dead movies are good. 1, 2, and Army of Darkness. But when they made the show, the Ash vs. Evil Dead, they had it on a couple of years ago on Showtime.
Yeah,
that's the best one of them all. Like that show is fantastic because like they kept that because Evil Dead's are really I'd say those are more comedy than horror movie also, especially the second and the third one. Those are definitely more of like the dark comedy than they are really horrors. I mean, there's definitely a lot of horror in it. Don't get me wrong, but they're dark comedies, and the show took that to the max. I think the show was awesome. I mean, it brought back Bruce Campbell too. I'm a massive Bruce Campbell fan. I absolutely love Bruce Campbell. So,
I know you do. I know you do. Ash vs. Evil Dead was great. Afghanistan. Yeah. That was definitely a really Evil Dead 2 was yeah. The first one wasn't.
Evil Dead 2 is pretty much a remake of Evil Dead 1. It's just a more comedic version of it. But Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 1 are the same movie.
What about we mentioned this on the last stream. How about, and I got to go back and watch it. I saw it a while ago, but I remember thinking it was a really good for an older horror movie. The People Under the Stairs.
Oh, People Under the Stairs is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember watching it with Jared. I've probably seen it since then, but yeah, I remember when we watched it with Jared. Yeah, People Under the Stairs definitely freaks you out a little bit.
Yeah, I like People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, People Under the Stairs is a good one.
People Under the Stairs is a good classic horror movie. Let's see what we got here. What's up? No chess modes today, Chris. Stop Porzingis. Have you seen Black Christmas? People bring this up.
I've seen both Black Christmases. It's like slash movie that takes place on Christmas Eve. The originals from the 70s. Then they remade it last year before. It was okay. I mean, if you're into the slash, I enjoy it. I've watched them. I've probably seen
several of my subscribers tell me that's their favorite Christmas movie.
I don't know about that. Our favorite Christmas movie. I mean, it's no Lethal Weapon.
How long could Greg talk about movies? Probably 24 hours.
I've actually been talking about movies since our last podcast, just not live.
Yeah. So we were saying how Bad Dog does a 24-hour stream. I think Greg could do a 24-hour movie stream easily.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. One of the greatest horror movies. Oh, you're talking name. Okay, there will be an Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell because I thought he hung the character up. It was announced in June JC says. So there's going to be
They announced that they're making a new that movie. And I'm pretty sure that Sam Raimi is actually back on for it. It's the guy who made the originals. Sam Raimi he's actually the guy who also made the original Spider-Man movies.
Yes, I knew that. I can't wait till we actually have some new movies to talk about.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I probably watched. There's probably a couple movies that since this whole entire, this whole social distancing quarantine thing started. There's probably one or two movies I probably watched like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, but I just can't wait till there's new movies so we could review them on the channel and talk about them.
Yeah, obviously.
And have some trailer reactions. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what we got here.
Tales from the Crypt. Somebody brought Tales from the Crypt. Massive Tales from the Crypt fan.
Oh, Tales from the Crypt is epic.
The Crypt Keeper's my man. Best Tales from the Crypt episode is called Abracadaver. I watched it with you. The one where the guy dies and he still has all the senses about him.
Yes.
That's the best one. Really good twist in that one. I'm not going to give it away, but yeah, if you guys want to watch a really good half-hour horror thing, Tales from the Crypt, Abracadaver.
I'm gonna have to watch Tales from the Crypt again. I haven't seen that in a while. Tales from the Crypt is great. Not a horror movie, but Godzilla. Yeah, I mean Godzilla. I don't know which one you're talking about, but the older one.
Godzilla's always fun. Even the new Godzilla, which was god awful, was still fun.
Well, I mean, it's a big dragon that shoots out fire. What's not to like?
It's a kaiji, not a dragon.
Yeah, same thing. It's a lizard it's a lizard that shoots out fire. Greg, have you ever seen the original Dark Shadows?
I haven't seen it. I've seen the one with Johnny Depp. I don't know. It's not the original though. I don't think I've seen the original.
Dark Shadows is the comedy, right?
Yeah, it's like I was gonna say it's more of like almost like an Addams Family vibe.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I remember when the remake came out. Let's see what we got here. Godzilla is one of my favorite monster movies. Yeah, I mean it's got a. What do you got? You got King Kong. You got Godzilla. You got the.
Or the Kong versus Godzilla that comes out. I mean, supposedly this year. I mean, God only knows if it's going to happen. But King Kong versus Godzilla, I'm looking forward to. I thought Kong Skull Island was really good. The most recent Godzilla was really bad. The one before that, Bryan Cranston, was pretty good. But I think that the recent, like the monster verse or whatever they're trying to, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make like all these monsters. They're trying to make King Kong and Godzilla be in the same, movie realm, MCU type thing. I think out of the 3 that came out, I think the Kong Skull Island was the best one. I really like the King Kong one.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. That's the one with
Samuel Jackson, John Goodman. I was about to say. I mean, you put either one of those guys in anything, I'm probably gonna like it.
Yeah. We didn't touch on Pet Sematary.
The original Pet Sematary, I fucking loved. The remake was terrible, but the original actually, you know what? You want to talk about movies that really bugged me out, and I've rewatched the original Pet Sematary right before, like literally 2 hours before I went to see the remake, and it still bugged me out. The original Pet Sematary at the end, when you I don't want to give it a whole thing away, I guess, but the original Pet Sematary, the last third of it is definitely really creepy and eerie and still gets my skin tingling, which really doesn't happen that often with me. I mean, I'm the type of guy who watches horror movies like they're going out of style too. So when I get something that makes me cringe a little bit, it's kind of it's worth noting.
Yeah, Pet Sematary. I remember watching that. I think it was with you for the first time. We were like 8 years old.
Well, this one, you probably like this one a lot. Oh, okay.
What?
I believe Mom was the one who told us to watch Pet Sematary.
Yeah, she was. And because she was a huge Stephen King fan. And that was the first horror movie that really made me cringe. And I was definitely really scared. And yeah, I mean that's an epic. I mean that's definitely one of Stephen King's best. What?
The end with the little kid, when they bring the little kid back to that and stuff, and he starts stabbing his mom or whatever it is. The new one sucks.
Let's see what we got here. Have you guys ever seen the Japanese horror movie The Audition? Best tour? I have never seen that.
I've actually heard about this movie. I have not seen it, but yeah, I've heard about this movie.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Let's see. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. We are getting some.
I mean, you guys don't know. I mean, I thought I've seen a good amount of horror movies. You guys are throwing out something. What about Sports Critic, First Jeepers Creepers? You love Jeepers Creepers.
I like Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers.
I like Jeepers Creepers. Yeah, I thought Jeepers Creepers was cool.
Time out. Who's this? Cheese Whiz says in the most recent Godzilla has less than 50 minutes of screen time. Obviously, you haven't seen the most recent Godzilla movie because the most recent Godzilla movie, Godzilla vs. King of the Monsters, Godzilla's probably on the screen for a solid like hour and 40 minutes of the 2-hour movie, but it has no plot because of that.
Sports Critic brought up a movie that you love, and I like it too. John Cusack, 1408.
Oh, 1408, fantastic. 1408. Yeah, I love 1408. Actually, you know what's funny about 1408? I always liked 1408. Saw it in movie theaters, loved it. I'm pretty sure I bought it on DVD. And so, but there's an alternate ending to 1408. And I never saw it. And then they showed, I was watching.
That's a ghost movie, by the way.
Yeah, I guess 1408 would be considered a ghost movie. But yeah, I'm watching it one day on like, I don't know, like AMC or TNT or something like that. And I'm watching my fiance. Both of us like the movie. We've both seen it before it. And I'm talking to her, and I'm like, the biggest disappointment about this movie is the way it ends. And then we get to the end of the movie, and the last 15 minutes is something I've never seen before. And I'm watching, I'm like, what? And then like I realized this, like if you ever get a chance to watch 1408 with the alternate ending, it makes it even better. And I already liked 1408. I loved 1408.
I love 1408 too. And I'm going to give you another one with John Cusack that I love, and that's Identity.
That is solid flick.
I love Identity, and basically what the reason it's called Identity is because, well, it's I'll tell people the twist, but I don't want to ruin it. But every character is basically an identity in this guy's brain.
Yeah, Identity was,
and that's the twist. You don't know that until the end, but they're all killing off one another until one takes over.
Identity is kind of like Psycho and Clue had a baby.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Psycho.
Like Stranger Things is like E.T. and Aliens had a baby.
Yeah. Benjamin Wynn says he hates horror movies. You're watching the wrong horror movies, man. You're watching the wrong horror movies.
You go watch Killer Sofa and you tell me you hate horror movies after that.
Yeah, Killer Sofa should have been nominated. Killer Sofa. Well, who comes up with an idea of a Killer Sofa? Horrible. Let's see what we got here. Stranger Things is over. I like Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is not overrated. You're wrong. Stranger Things is fantastic. Stranger Things, every single time the seasons came out, I've turned it on and boom, just like that. How long? 7 hours, 8 hours of my life just gone. Like, I can't stop watching it. It's horrible, too, because, like, you wait 2 years for these Stranger Things seasons to come out, and then it comes out, and I get, like, 6 or 7 hours of happiness, and then it's, back to the miserable existence.
Yeah, I love Stranger Things, but I guess like it's maybe everybody has their own taste, but I love it a lot. I like it a lot. It reminds me of my childhood. I have naked woman posters. Okay, good to know there, Kristaps Porzingis. Good to know. He says, I guess it's just not. It's not everybody's thing. Alphabet. It's not everybody's thing. I've talked to some people that don't like the show, but I'm with Greg on this one. I do like that show a lot. Hitcher was great. I like I've never heard of that either.
I've never seen that. I know what it is, but yeah, I've never seen it. I think they remade the Hitcher actually. Also, didn't they remake it a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago or something like that? I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up.
Let's see what we got here. They're just. I mean, these guys are horror fanatics. I knew that Bad Dog was. We got. What did you say?
Bad Dog brought up Cujo. Cujo's a fun one. You've seen Cujo, right?
I've seen Cujo. Not in a long time, but I've seen it. Yes. Yeah. I remember seeing when I was a kid.
Wrong Turn. Oh, I totally forgot about Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn's a solid one. Wrong Turn's another one that's really intense. Have you ever seen No Vacancy? You know about No Vacancy?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. I've seen Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn, No Vacancy. Those movies turn it up a little bit.
What was the one with Paul Walker with the trucks?
U-Turn? No, Joyride.
Joyride was pretty good.
Joyride, Breakers is Candyman or something like that.
Candyman. It came out right around the same time as Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers, yeah, definitely really close to each other.
Yeah, I like Joyride. I remember that.
You like movies like Joyride, Jeepers Creepers, but you don't like Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is like the precipice of horror movies.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Knicks 73-20? I've seen every Knicks game is a horror movie, so it's just a matter of which one's worse than the next. Let's see.
You watch The Last Dance. Do you have like PTSD syndrome? Do you like bug out watching Jordan put the Knicks away for like 6 years out of the 90s?
Oh God, The Last Dance was painful. I think it was episode 6 where they relived the New York Knicks, and it was absolutely horrible. Reliving my childhood and going into a game knowing that you're going to lose, but you're going to try to put up your best fight, because that's basically what was being a Knicks fan back then. But at least we were good. Let's see what we got here. Stage fright. Love that owl mask. You guys, I have no idea.
Stage fright. All right, these people are going real deep now. Some of these things I don't know.
I should have got some water. The scariest horror movie is when Giants Eagles. That's always a horror movie. It's been a horror movie for about the last, I don't know, decade.
So I'm saying best horror movie with naked women. I mean, The Shining's got to be up there. You get full frontal in The Shining.
Yeah, you do. That's right.
I brought up Record. I just brought that up. JC brought up, I want to see Record. I've seen all the Records. Records are really good. Records, those are like some of those found footage, like guerrilla style film movies. It's like a zombie thing. Yeah, I love Records.
Never heard of that one.
They remade them too here. They made an English version. I think it's called like Contaminated or something like that. I've never seen the English versions, but the Spanish version is awesome.
I definitely got to catch up on some of these horror movies. I know the mainstream ones, but let's see what we got here. Jason Alexander eats too much pizza. Dire Giants fan says.
Is that a fact?
I guess that's in a movie. Maybe he's making a reference to a horror movie.
I'm not too sure about that one.
You never seen the Reanimator? I've never seen the. Have you?
I have seen the Reanimator. I'm trying to put my finger. I definitely have seen it. The Reanimator is mentioned in Scream, and that's why I saw it. But I can't really put too much back with it. But they mention it in the Blockbuster in Scream, where one of the killers works.
Now that you mention that, I remember that.
Yeah, and I've seen it because of that. I can't really comment too much on it though. It's definitely been a long time since I've seen it, but I've definitely seen the Reanimator.
Oh yeah, I saw the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Raphael.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a classic. I mean, you can't.
When I watched that used to be on HBO like every day when I was a kid, and I've probably seen that movie. There were two movies that were always on HBO when I was like 6-7 years old, and one of them was the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and the other was Little Shop of Horrors, which I suppose qualifies as a horror movie also.
Yeah, kind of. It's like a musical.
A musical / horror comedy. And yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is definitely like a cult classic. It's not very good. But when you were a kid, I was scared shitless as a kid.
Yeah, I've eaten cotton candy since I watched that movie for the first time.
Yeah. But A Little Shop of Horrors, I love. I love the music's addicting. It's a good movie. Rick Moranis.
Actually, remaking Little Shop of Horrors too. So see, that's all they do now is just remake movies.
They remake
especially in the horror genre. Forget about it. I mean.
He said, Bad Dog says you guys need to see Phantasm. I'll have to check.
Christopher Walken. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've definitely seen it. If it's the movie I'm thinking of.
I'll have to check it out. Let's see what we got here. Best horror movies with... Okay, Kristaps Porzingis wants to know the best horror movies with sex. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of them.
Yeah, I was going to say most of those. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. Phantasm is not with Christopher Walken. All right, I haven't seen Phantasm.
No, you're going to have to check it out. Bad Dog just gave you a homework assignment.
That's it.
That's it. You're going to watch it right after the stream. Let's see what we got here. The Undertaker Dog Sports delete the... it's a fake Die Giants fan? Okay. There is a fake. I don't know which one it is.
I am thinking of The Prophecy. You're right, Bad Dog. My bad. Trick or Treat. Oh, man. Somebody who brought up Trick or Treat? Marina? Trick or Treat is fucking awesome. Trick or Treat is definitely like one of those like flew under the radar type horror movies, which I don't understand. When I watched Trick or Treat, I was blown away.
Right now, I'm not logged into my movie account, so I can't give out wrenches. So I'm sorry. Next time, I'll get rid of the guy if he's back in here. I don't know which Die Hard Giants fan it is. But right now, I'm not logged into my my movie account. So we'll get him next time. Not a big deal. Would you consider Critters a horror film? Yeah, Gremlins too, probably, right?
Yeah, Gremlins definitely. Yeah, Critters would go in there also. I mean, yeah, 100%.
Gremlins is great. I remember watching the first couple of Gremlins as a kid.
No, yeah, Gremlins is awesome. The second Gremlins is good too. And the first one's definitely better, but the second one's pretty good. Somebody asked what my favorite horror movie is. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there just because we didn't get a real chance to talk about it. I'm going to say Cabin in the Woods. I fucking love Cabin in the Woods.
I gotta watch it again so we can have a full-on debate about Cabin in the Woods.
I love Cabin in the Woods.
I gotta watch.
It's so good.
I gotta watch it again so we can.
Very funny. Very good.
Debate. I'm looking forward to having a big debate with you about that movie.
I can talk about Cabin in the Woods for the rest of the summer.
That's your favorite horror movie of all time?
Probably not, but I'm just throwing it out there because it's popping in my head and I didn't really get a chance to talk about it. Cabin in the Woods is. You don't realize how good Cabin in the Woods is because, like, you're just looking at the story, you're not thinking about what the hell this really is.
I have to watch it again. Let's see what we got here. Well, it's the only one with the small New York Giants logo. Okay. Orphan. I remember when that came out. I never saw it.
I actually haven't seen Orphan either. I do know what it is.
Yeah, I remember when it came out. I never saw it.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's the fake account. And we're gonna close this out anyway, Greg. It's been almost an hour and a half, and we don't usually go longer. And this guy's clearly a jerk off, so he'll be blocked next time. We're not worried about it. I just wasn't logged into the movie account. These are no more than 20, 25 people. I don't feel like it's ever going to be much of a problem. This is a guy with no life. So we are going to close it out. We were going to close it out now anyway. And this guy could go cry to his mother. But thank you to everybody for being here. We really appreciate it. Greg, man, thank you so much for coming on. Always love talking movies with you. Thank you to everybody for bringing out all the great suggestions for all the great movies. We really do appreciate it. Brett, thank you for popping in. Anybody that may have been new to the channel, if you did pop in, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up, ring the bell. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to try to do more of these, try to do like 2 of these a week if we can. And obviously we're going to pick up the content once new movies are coming out, but right now we're kind of in a wait and see approach. We're waiting for movies to come out.
We're in limbo for movies right now.
Yeah, but we're right now we're going to just talking about old movies to give you guys, to keep the channel up and running. So thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. And we will see you guys soon. Thank you guys for being here. Have a good night, guys.
You guys have a good one.